And then there's another one right behind.
So they've got a few motors here, right?
Yeah.
They call them motors or?
Engines.
Engines, right.
Mate. No,
So
motors
this is
are normally electric.
All right, okay. So this
one here is a Rolls-Royce Durant, 2,400 pound static thrust. This was the second jet built by Rolls-Royce, and they powered the Gloucester Meteor aircraft, which just came into effect at the end of the war. And this actually set a world speed record in 1945 at 606 miles an hour.
Gee, okay.
We only had one of these came to New Zealand just after the war.
They had two, one of the planes, but they had two motors, did they?
Two engines.
Two engines,
yeah, two engines, yeah. So the one in New Zealand was used to train some of the other pilots on to jet conversion.
Right.
And it only did a few hours here and then was sent to Auckland, to Hobsonville and that, and to Wanganui, I think, and it was used as an instructional airframe, and then the aircraft was sold off later on and ended up at Motap, I think, and the engines there as well. And then one of those engines was actually brought by a Dutch gentleman, I can't remember his name, in Auckland,
yeah.
And he mounted it on a frame that used to hold a Merlin V12 engine like the Ellison there.
Okay.
And he had it in his backyard, and apparently he used to run it up on the weekends. Now, you couldn't do that now, of course, because of OSH regulations and the noise, but in those days that's what he did. Right. And if you remember the old 4-gallon kerosene tins we had with the handle on top, if you brought one of those along full of kerosene, and then he would run the engine up for you.
Okay, right. There's anything fancy about this baby that you worked on?
Well, it's one of the early jet engines, of course, so the materials were only what they had available at the time, and they were still making advances in metallurgy and that. And a lot of the early engines, you know, the life on them wasn't that many hours, but that's how we progressed from the early engines into the later ones. After this, of course, we have the Goblin engine over here.
That's a Goblin.
This is in the Vampire.
Oh, okay.
So,
there can't be many of these babies around, is there?
Yeah, there's a few in museums there. We'd like to have one of ours, of course. So
yes.
This has taken it one step further, really. Quite a large engine. So it's what they call a centrifugal compressor. If you look down through the front here. See down there?
You see down there?
Centrifugal compressor. Okay, compressors the air there, comes in through into the combustion chambers here. Fuel comes through your fuel pipes here with the air. Igniter plugs here like a big spark plug.
All right.
Light them off once the engine's alight, long as you've got fuel it keeps running, right?
Okay.
Very simple. In a jet engine, you want to stop it, you just shut the fuel off. So then that's directed at a higher pressure back here onto the turbine, which is inside there. And then in the middle of the turbine is your shaft running back through to the compressor. So that's driving the compressor. Then your jet efflux comes out the jet pipe here.
Right.
So these are putting up to about 3,500 pound static thrust at about 10,500 revs maximum.
Gee, okay.
Yeah. Very noisy, very thirsty.
Right.
At sea level, you're probably getting through about 330 gallons of AvTur per hour. So AvTur is aviation turbine kerosene, which a jet engine or gas turbine runs on. Yeah.
But the higher altitudes, you're better off, are you?
Yes, you are, because you get colder air, and then over a certain speed, you get what we call a ram effect as well. So they're much more efficient up at altitude, not down at sea level.
Right. Oh, thanks very much, bro.
But they are noisy, and as you'll hear when the Strike Master goes up later on, it's got a little Viper engine in it, a bit more powerful than this, around 5,000 pounds, but quite noisy.
Right.
You did lose a blunty.